Yo, what's going on? Look, um, I go live. This is probably the first, if not the second. We may have went and done a live show once before, but I know usually we go 6 p.m. Central Standard Time when the episodes usually drop. So I'm going live as a thank you for all the subscribers from 2025 because it is the month of January. And I don't think we actually acknowledged that we rolled into 2026. And ironically, I want to talk about because I promised that I was going to be public about this, regardless of how it went. So we're going to talk about trading, of course, as always. I'm your host Marcel, finance creator, wealth mentor, host of the Wealthy Seven podcast. Appreciate everybody who listens in. We do air on iHeart. We air on Spotify in regards to how you guys watch us. But thank you for supporting me in regards to watching us. Um, here on YouTube, my channel, Marcel Griffin, founder of Griffin Speaks LLC, and published author of a trade I made. We're gonna get into it, all of that. Besides, if you bet it on MicroStrategy, would you ever trade again? Because I know a lot of y'all did it. I was there. I dropped the bag. Everything made sense. Fundamentals made sense. They're like, oh, let's go hand in hand, X, Y, and Z. Did we follow technicals? Technicals even made sense in the beginning. So I'll give you an example, right? And I'm talking about I became a trap buyer who it was all or nothing. It was all or nothing on MicroStrategy, and that was it. And I had a few other plays here and there that hit, but MicroStrategy was the biggest swing that I ever took. I'm talking about I dropped a few bands, but I dropped a few racks. And when I said it was gonna be my greatest lesson or greatest blessing, because you already know, like when you trade in, your unforeseen earnings can be X, Y, and Z, and they can show you like, hey, if you're right on the trend and trajectory, and especially if you trade in options. So when I do trade, I do options contracts. I have practiced futures. I can tell you that, but it's very difficult for me. While we on the ground growing wealth to trade the futures time frame, which is the time that I have on me. So I want to talk about it. When I say a lot of the fundamentals for us who believe in MicroStrategy, technically are still correct, but there were a lot of what they call micropolitics, micro global economics that would not allow this asset to pop. Should have. Like MicroStrategy in a great world, not even we didn't even ask for a perfect world. In a great world, should be like 450 right now. No cap. Should be like 400, 450 on a great day. I remember I got in it three some, maybe 330, 360. Popped up $900. This is what we talk about. Like, so for those who've never traded, and it's your first time watching my show, our goal is to change our family's money story. And we who are relatives or siblings have chosen to become the wealthy ones. Sometimes you got to be the first to do it. Change your money story. That's our goal here. Um, and I'm an investor, right? I've been a long term investor. I trade. I do options, particularly particularly swings. But in 2026, I've started day trading. Now, they'll be like, "Oh man, you just started day trading. What do you know?" If you trade it at all, you can trade. If you gain profit at all, you can trade. The difference between people you meet who say that they do their day traders versus swing traders versus they only do crypto versus they do that. There was a new thing that came in called ladders. These are particular types of ways that you can trade a stock or an asset. That's all that is. A day trader waits no less than a few hours to maybe a day, literally, and they may execute or exit their trade in the 25th hour, right? So let's say, can I do an example? I can. I'll do an example for y'all. So let's say, um, I wonder if I can pull my Thinkorswim up. Shout out to Charles Schwab. I have a Charles Schwab account. Um, Let me find out. They won't let me do it. Oh, they might. They might. All these security things when you're trying to get live examples. This is off the cuff, by the way. I ain't even gonna hold you. This is strictly off the cuff. Um, just because I really want to give you an example of knowledge, and you're not just hearing me talk. But my point is this: the only difference between a day trader and a swing trader is the time frame in which we're trading. Day traders 24 hours or less. Swing traders 25 hours or more, right? So I can swing a contract for 3 days. Like there's contracts that I have. I have a Palantir contract that expires this Friday, right? And most option contracts expire on Fridays. Man, it took me a minute to get in this thing of swim. So paper money. This is my simulated account. With Charles Schwab, and I just want to give you an example. So I want to pull it up though. And Apple is like my go-to. So Apple is 248. As of today, it dropped down. I don't need year to date. I need today's. So Apple today, let's say, um, actually that was a pretty good swing. So let's say I bought my contract, and there's no way you know this would happen because this is a wild day. If you yeah. So you would think the Apple would have been easy to explain, but I'm gonna try to break it down as easy as possible. So at opening bell, depending upon what time zone you in, opening bell is 8:30 or 9:30, right? Central, Eastern, or Pacific time. Around opening bell for me, Apple was at 447, $47. I ain't gonna give you change. $47. It automatically dropped within that hour. No, this is a 5 minute. These are 5 minute candles that y'all looking at. So I do hour because it lets me know like who's trading and what time frames and where we at. So when it opened, this high, it's high, which is what the line is for. Um, $48. Within that hour, pretty much stayed trading up to about $48, then dropped at 10 o'clock to 45. So to go from 48 to 45, that's a $3 loss. If I got in on opening bell and I perceive it's going to go up, I'm probably like 20%. And one of the rules that I'm sticking to as a majority, if I can get out of the contract in time, is like the 25% rule. Depending upon like, so that and it's crazy that we going live when I'm having these conversations, but um it's if you believe in the trade. So going back to the why I said, bro, would you ever trade again if you was trading micro, even after you traded MicroStrategy? Yes, I will. Just so you know, that's one area that was a lesson. I made profit before, so I know that. Oh man, I didn't read any books on trading. Didn't read any books on charting, and I just threw a few bands in the air, a few grands in the air off of the amount of he say, she say from the public. No, that's not what happened. Do I still believe in Bitcoin? Yes, because my strategy is tied to Bitcoin 100%. I still believe that Bitcoin will be an asset. It is an asset to the public who believes in it. Also, because I come from, I've been stamped as so I started in 2020. Started full-fledged investing. I started in 2020, and I watched people talk about Bitcoin as a possibility to Bitcoin machines being in currency exchanges. And unless you really are dived into this game, investing, the stock market, and becoming wealthy, what you start to notice when you think about everything as an entrepreneur, but specifically as an investor, because it's a little different. You can think as an entrepreneur, think on business terms, and then you think as an investor. When you think as an investor, you're watching to see how is society adapting to companies that either are public or will be public, and are they green lighting it? What was a green light for me? They put Bitcoin exchanges or ATM machines in currency exchanges. Currency exchanges was not. This is like 20. But I was still um out deep from the south side. Like I was, I wasn't even where I was today. We talking about 5 years ago, 2020, 2019. But they got Bitcoin. I already knew that society was like, yeah, this is going to be a monetary exchange. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be a monetary call-in, which is stating it is going to go up by 2 p.m. If I'm not day trading this, I'm down. And if I'm a frantic trader, I'm hurt. Especially this is my last $100, right? You feel me? I'm hurt. So popped. What I'm gonna do? When you've been in the game for a while, you know what I'm saying, you dust your shoulders off for real. And when I talk about like me keep swinging, but we're going all in on how far can you get it. how far can you take it back, right? How far can you grow your wealth? You and take it into the wealth trajectory, what that look like. It's gonna take some long nights, some hard nights, some aches, some going nights to keep up with y'all because you subscribe to me, you subscribe to me for a reason. So, oh, Brody says, yeah, bro. I'm serious about this thing called wealth. I'm serious. So much so, bro. I do my trades in Robinhood, and one of my accounts, you got 3 tries. So I'm up and back. I got 3 swings for my home run, and that's it. We swinging. I got 3 swings to my home run, but we still swinging. I technically that's on day trading side, but still swinging. And for me, it's working. If I make a day's worth of work, even while I'm working, it's worth it. It's like if you working, so and I've done this, right? And I give you so if you follow me, right? So if you subscribe to my Instagram pages where I mainly post about this, and I'll start transitioning over to all my other social media. So Marcel Griffin is everywhere. Marcel is short for Marcellus, because you'll see that on my professional website, which Griffin Speaks. They'll say Marcellus, but in short, I have $1,000 challenge. Now, in my $1,000 challenge, my first entry was Uber, and this is public and it's on my page. So it's a pretty recent post because I started the challenge in January, because this was to prove to everybody else that like I'm not just saying I'm an investor and I read like no, I really do this and there's profit. Whatever you see to be profit is still profit, right? If I make more money than what I put in on the trade, and I put $100 in and I made 50 on top, I made profit. It just depends on how you really look at that. Like some people be make $10,000 yet? Did you make $1,000,000 yet? Depends on how you see profit. But I want to go back to like the first entry, because the first entry is in and gone. So the first entry was Uber for my $1,000 challenge. Now, if you still want to join, the goal of the $1,000 challenge is really to myself and say, if you had $1,000 set to the side, they say most Americans don't have $1,000 in a savings account. What if you did? What if you did when the new year came around, had $1,000 in the savings account, and I guess one of your New Year's resolutions, I do new goals each year, right? But what if your New Year's resolutions was I want to start investing, I want to start learning trading, and I got $1,000. Let's say you said, hey man, what can I do with that by the summer, right? So I said, hey, let's see what I make out of it in the summer. The trades alone, those trades alone, I'd be up straight, because going back to the first entry was Uber. I had a $75 call. I think I spent 750. Now I'm gonna tell you this. Um, Depending upon how far in the money, and in the money means if Uber is at $75 and you want to swing it from the $75 mark, it's going to cost you more money, right? Versus you trying to predict that Uber's going to go up and I want to start from the $77 mark. The dollar prices will be different. That's what I'll say. Uber $75 call. That's the price range for the ticker. and I projected it to go up to 80 and above. My true number was 90, but I made an exit. My exit for this trade was 77. So as long as Uber hit 77, and that wasn't even my break even. I think my break even was like 82. And if I'm using terminology, so if this your first time watching my show, just first time learning, trading terminology, investing terminology, your break even price is if your contract reaches this price prior to it expiring, you would be in profit. So my $75 call only needed to get to 82 for me to be in profit, have all my money. So let's say I spent 500 or 750. I only needed it to get above 82 for all of my money to be good on the wood. Like I'll keep all my money in house and everything else after that is profit. So whether it's $100 on top of my 750, your contract would close at like 850, right? Top of your 750 back. My closed at 1150. So that's $1,000 and 1100. So I made 350 on top of my money. And going back to my point, imagine if you were going to work, you made this trade. This is your first trade. Let's say I think it did it in like a week. You put the entry in on Monday, and by Thursday, you've made all 3 days of your work week's pay. Because the average, no matter, even if you're making like 20 to $30 plus an hour, most of the time it's gonna average out to you make $100 a day, right? In an 8-hour work week, you make around $100 a day. So imagine me, first week of the pay period, I said I want to start trading. I put my money in on Uber. I start my $1,000 challenge with Marcel because I believe he's the wealth mentor, and I roll with him. By Wednesday, not only is my check coming from my 9 to 5, I just made an extra $100 each day if I profited 350, right? So if I profited 350, I made $100 each day when I exited on Thursday. See what I'm saying? So like my second, just so the second entry is Microsoft, but again you can follow. So and I'm doing this until probably the summer. Probably summer, so probably till June. I'm gonna be doing this challenge. And I'll be like, hey, this is the amount of money profit wise that I made from making these trades that are only attached to the challenge. Now, again, any other trade that you see me making, I day trade. So what I might adjust when I do a challenge, I have a separate account for that challenge. So I'll probably do that maybe after June. Uh, but I'll still show all the um, profits from the trades only from the challenge. So I'll be like, if you did one trade a month, one these one like one trade a month and one exit with your $1,000, this is how much you would have made from January to June, right? Because I would have said I started in the winter, but that's what I initially. I mean, January is the winter for us, still the winter, but in a 6 month span, right? All while if you are working, look how much money you got on the back end, and hopefully you start her off. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you have some type of asset or extra account that grows while you work. I have one. If you work in corporate, you should take it. and really try to self-direct it, but open your own. Like, I'm going to open my own Roth this year. And you can start, you guys can start in March, because I know tax time is coming around. You guys can start in March. Like, it's never too late to become an investor. It's never too late to become a trader. It's just how bad do you really want it? How many hours you spending on it? So to answer the faded question, would I ever trade again? Hell yeah. But if you've seen what I've seen, just off the fact that, yo, this is possible, this is possibility, I'm trading every day, every time. Ain't nothing stopping me. You take some L's, it's called a loss. It's called a lesson. What we doing tomorrow? What we doing next week? Because if you've seen it work once, it'll work again. It's how much time you putting into the work. See what I'm saying? But with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Like, share, subscribe. As always, I'm your host Marcel, and this is Wealthy Sibling. Man, make sure y'all listen to us on all platforms. We are out on iHeart. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button, hit the share button. I'm your host Marcel Griffin, founder of Griffin's Beats. Make sure you go grab my book of trade I made. If you want an introductory into, like, man, if I knew this at 18 again, give it to your son, give it to your daughter, especially if they're in high school. It's gonna be good for them. It's gonna be good for them.